This conference will now be recorded.
Dorothy, on the new go-to meeting, I don't see, like, I just heard it say it's being recorded, but it used to be that it would show kind of in the upper left. Oh, okay, there it is. All right, got it. They've moved it
Yep.
to show where it's being recorded.
Okay. Well, it didn't move for me, but I can understand things keep changing computer to computer. Mary will be with us in just a moment.
Again, I'm using my phone because that is how I'm accessing the agenda and the information because I can't figure that out, Dorothea. You tried to help me.
It was working fine when you left here.
It was. I don't know what happened. Even when I do the automatic way you had me to click on, it won't. It just said rejected, rejected. So I'm using my phone to access our information for this evening.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we'll keep working on it. We'll get it resolved.
It could be my, I told you, it started life as a German computer. So I don't think it quite made the adjustment. And I had it translated, it just didn't translate well.
Ah.
Hi, Mary. Okay, I guess we have everybody here. We'll call the workshop to order. I'll make a motion to call the meeting to order. Do I have a second?
Lanfear, second.
Dorothea, would you call a vote, please?
Sure. Trustee Stetser?
Stetser, aye.
Trustee Lanfear?
Lanfear, aye.
Trustee Keating?
Keating, aye.
Mayor Corby?
Corby, aye.
Motion passes.
We have a holdover agenda item from last night. Margot Fast is here to talk about the details of the 3 dates for the planned events that would require a non-municipal use permit. Margot, would you like to unmute yourself?
Before you do that, Mary, can you do me a favor and send me the Excel copy of that roll up of the wish list items?
Dan, you have a copy of my wish list in tonight's packet.
No, I'm looking for the Excel copy of it. So the soft copy of it. I've got a hard copy of it. I've got it in paper. I'd like an Excel file.
All right. Well, I can't do it right now. I'm in the middle of a meeting, so.
Right, but that's why I jumped in, because Margot's going to talk. So can you just walk over to your computer and send it to me, please?
Bob, what do you want me to do here?
I'm going to talk for about 2 minutes, and it's very simple.
This is going to be brief, so I don't think this should take very long.
So basically, on January 26th, we had a meeting with Patty Love, and as I recall, Dan, you liked the idea of what we were planning for the permaculture garden proof of concept. And we simply need a permit to be able to do the project in May with about 10 or 15 volunteers, and for us to use that land in order to help to establish an educational site there. And this is part of a larger plan to begin to reestablish native plantings, plantings like white oak that are more sustainable and more friendly to caterpillars and things like that that are necessary for butterflies and frogs and birds. And that's basically it. That's all I really want to talk about today. I would like permission to have that permit because we have a grant application. We have 2 grant applications. They have to go in on Monday, and it would be ridiculous to send in a grant and then have anybody say, no, we can't have a permit. So that's my simple and easy ask, period, end of story.
Are there questions from the board on the events that Frog House plans to hold? Yes, Renee.
I do. So hi Margot. It's
Hi,
Renee.
Renee.
Not sure if you are on screen or just calling in.
Oh, sorry. I would like to
No,
wait.
it's okay. You don't need to. So you're just asking for a permit for the May 23rd event.
Yes, correct.
Not okay, because we had in our packet last night every single event and we weren't sure what was.
Yeah. Well, only 2 of them take
Oh, you don't
place on village land, and if you want to give permission at the same time for the scavenger hunt, that would be very good. I need to get permission from the town. That's the June event. All the rest of them take place on Zoom, and no permit is required.
So the location of this is behind in the DPW area that you talked about, or behind DPW, from the location that you talked about at the previous meeting, or May 23rd. Okay.
Yeah, and just to point out and remind everybody again that we opened before we became a nonprofit in October of 2018. We had a First Save the Frogs event in April, and Bob, Robert Corby, and Bill Smith have been my advisors ever since, because the Frog House is set up to try to help the town and village become more sustainable, more green, and more friendly to humans and wildlife and flora and fauna.
Margot, could you clarify something? It was stated at our meeting last night that my name appears on the board of a Frog House. Would you clarify
that? Not correct. You are listed as an advisor, as Bill Smith is listed as an advisor, because I need people. Obviously, if I'm going to contribute to the village and town of Pittsford, I need to work with the people who know the village and town of Pittsford. And now we're a member of CPG, Color Pittsford Green, and we are working with both the village and the town in that capacity as well.
Bob,
Thank
to
you.
answer Bob, to address that really quickly, that's exactly what was said last night. Nobody said that you were on the board. I definitely used the words you're an advisor, because that's what it says on the website. So
Let's
it really
listen to the
doesn't
tape.
matter. I just need a permit, yes or no, please. I don't care what was said last night, if you don't mind my saying so.
Okay, let's conclude the conversation. Do you
Okay,
have
I
any
have a
questions about the event?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Dan has the floor.
We have not, I haven't seen does anybody have an application for this event? How would this normally work? Because I looked in the packet, I don't see one. So like, don't they have to fill out something that says what it is, what the date is, how many people are going to be there, what the insurance is, what they need from the village? There's a form for this, right?
A non-municipal use form?
Dorothea?
We have proved this all different ways. We have had the non-municipal use permit form. We've had letters from people. We've had flyers. We've had, I lost my words. We've had people come up and we've done it verbal. We've had different reinformations. Yes, we do have an application, but when we've gotten a flyer or a letter, like the town of Pittsburgh doesn't fill out a flyer application. They just give me a letter. And I've submitted that to the board. The library has just given us a letter. This, it's not been consistent. So this has been something the board has done with less and with more. So It's your decision.
Legally, the important issue would be that if a resolution is made tonight to approve the non-municipal use permit, that the resolution includes specific information regarding the date, the time, the location, and who is going to be there, and
And the insurance.
Insurance.
yeah, and the insurance. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have filled out the form before for other events, and I'd be glad to do it again.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
So then is the idea that we would approve it and then get some backup information in a form or something? Is that
I can
No,
do it
the
tomorrow.
idea,
proposing?
the idea is tonight, if we approve it, the resolution would include the date, the time, the location, the people who are sponsoring the event, the number of people expected to attend the event, and information, a confirmation that a Frog House has the insurance as required by our standards.
Which I believe is $1 million.
Right. Okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
Any other comments? Okay, I will propose a resolution to approve the non-municipal use permit of a Frog House as part of a municipal private venture to begin seed projects for the transformation of the Village Arboretum, beginning with a permaculture demonstration project to be held on June 8th,
March.
Margot?
No, it's,
Oh.
the webinar will be in March, and then the other one is in May. I think it's May 25th, but
Okay.
I'd have to look at the
What-
calendar.
May
You have
23rd.
The date
May
The date
23rd.
on the May 23rd, is that the one that's going to be held on the DPW property?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
according,
That
yeah,
one.
flyer, yeah.
Okay.
With
To be
Patty
sponsored,
Love.
to be sponsored by a Frog House, facilitated by permaculture expert Patty Love, to an expected participation of roughly, what, 50 people? How many people do you expect to attend?
No, it will only be 15 or 20 people who will do the hands-on experiment or activity. But then later in June, when we have the scavenger hunt, I'll do a separate permit for that.
Okay.
We'll have
And
about
it-
as many as we can.
And this will be conditional upon the village receiving proof of insurance as required by our standard practice at the village office, determined by the village clerk. Okay, do we have a second?
Second, Lampier.
Okay, is there any additional discussion? If not, Dorothea, would you call a vote, please?
Is there a date that we have to have the proof of the insurance by? Do we want to tie it to some sort of date?
I've got it already, so I can provide it to Dorothea as soon
Okay.
as tomorrow.
Okay, great.
In the past, we've never set a standard for the amount of time the insurance is received by, so I would think we would be consistent in our practice with a Frog House.
Yes, and it's also reasonable to say we would like it before the event.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, Dan. I love you. That's a great idea.
Okay. All right, Dorothea, would you call a vote, please?
Absolutely. Trustee Stetser,
That's our eye.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Keating,
Meeting aye.
Mayor Corby.
Corby, aye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Margot.
Motion passes.
Can't wait for
Thank
the
you.
event.
5-4 for the frogs.
Absolutely. Take care. Have a good evening, Margot.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, our first agenda item is Mary is going to report on the status of the attorney bills.
May I ask a
Mary,
question?
you're-
Is Frank ill?
No, he plans to join us a little bit
Mary,
later on.
you're muted.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
I have attorney bills that are up for payment. We just received the one from Jeff Turner's office for PCP versus VOP yesterday, but the other ones from Zoglin are a holdover from prior meeting. Are any of these good to go for payment?
No. So here I need to talk to you guys about this. So I met with Justin yesterday about this, and here's where it gets complicated, and I need guidance from the board on this. It gets complicated because Mindy has mixed up PCP and non-PCP issues onto a single bill. Justin is comfortable, Susan is comfortable giving approval on the PCP issues. Susan is not comfortable giving approval on the non-PCP issues. Then, so I thought, okay, well, so Susan gave approval on the PCP issues, so I don't have approval on the non-PCP issues. So I thought, okay, well, how can we do this? I can send a copy of the bill that's kind of like redacted for the PCP stuff and send that to Justin so that it's just the non-PCP issue. So then Justin could approve it, and then you put both of those together and you have the approval. Now, the problem there, when I was talking to him about that, and that seemed like it was going to work just fine. A more perfect way to do it is to have Mindy split it into 2 invoices. But one of the places where we were struggling was Justin said to me last night, I'm not really comfortable using my personal email address for village related issues, and my village email isn't working right now, or I can't get into it, said Justin. So I'm sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place here on how to address the immediate issue and then how to create a system that's a little better so that we haven't had this problem before. The bills have been well split out, PCP issues on one bill and non-PCP on the other. So that's kind of where we are with it. I don't have great answers. I probably would have it done if there was an email account, or if you guys tell me, yeah, it's okay to use a personal email address for Justin. Where he was with it, and I kind of understand this, is he doesn't want to get his personal email account foiled, which I can understand. So that's kind of where we are. There's no perfect answer.
Can we print off just a hard copy for him in the interim? I mean, I'd volunteer to run by with everything.
Scratch out the PCP stuff so he doesn't see it.
Yeah, well, however you were going to send it electronically, we'd do the same thing, right? The problem is his email isn't working yet.
No.
So we could print it. Oh,
Dorothea has an update. Go ahead, Dorothea.
It is working. We have been experiencing, I mean, we're not sure what his experience is. We talked to him today. We walked him through. He was able to get in. Then he called a couple hours later and said he can't get in. So I'm not sure what is going on. We checked it here again. It is working. So, you know, we have a call out to assist him in further whatever he needs. So it is working. The email is working. So
are we allowed to print it off in a hard copy just so that we could get this resolved by Tuesday?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be happy to swing by and be the deliverer, since I just live, I live right down from Village Hall.
That's fine, or we can print it here and have him pick it up here, whatever he's comfortable doing. That's fine.
Okay, and if you're going to do it at Village Hall, it has to have the PCP stuff redacted.
Right.
That's fine. We can black it out and get it done if that's what you.
And then black out the total as well, because otherwise he could just do the math.
Okay, which invoice is this? I'll make sure it happens
Alright.
in the morning.
The ones that Mary, would you mind if I just read the ones that Mary has partially approved?
Go ahead.
They are right here. Okay. 1006 and 958 are the ones that are mixed up. There are 2 that Susan has fully approved, and I can pass those to you for payment today, which are 1008 and 1017.
I think those are already paid. I don't have them left as open. What
Okay,
numbers are they again?
1017 and 1008. That was approved by Susan on January 26th, so I'm guessing we paid those already.
Yeah, I think those
Right,
are
those are
they?
already paid. They're probably paid as of the February 12th meeting. I don't have that part with me here, but I can double check that. The only ones I have open are the ones that are listed, and just for the record, the charges on 950A, it's a total, between the 2 invoices, it's a charge of $234 total. The first entry from November 19th that you have in question was a review and respond to multiple emails from judges, chambers, and counsel regarding PCP settlement offer. That was $52. And then the other one on that same invoice was a call on November 25th. It's a call with the village board attorneys regarding coordinated response to PCP for $78. On invoice 1006 from 12/3/20, it's an email from PZBA chairperson, notes of pending applications for December meeting of $52. And 12/16, prepared draft resolution granting PCP application to extend condition number 12, another $52. Those last two entries that I made are part of her flat fee. PZ,
1,600.
right, that's
1,600.
the 1,600 flat fee account. The other two are not, but the two bills, the discrepancies that Justin seems to be having, or Susan, whichever, is a total of $234. So I just need direction as to, am I holding these over until next Tuesday and hopefully this matter is cleared up by then? Or what am I doing?
Sounds that way.
Everybody in agreement for that? Hold over till Tuesday and then they get paid? Hopefully get approved for payment?
Rather than pay the
Yep.
1,600 and just hold back the discrepancy? Do you want to do it in
It
just
would be-
one?
When she does the 1,600, it doesn't matter if she charges us $8,000 or $100 that month. The flat fee is the flat fee. That is what we're paying, is the 1,600, regardless of what charges were made during that.
So why don't
period.
there's no reason not to pay the $1,600
That's what,
and do
and then
it
just
timely.
hold back the part that's in dispute.
Yeah.
And
I'd still rather have Justin, I'd still rather follow the process and
Oh, is
have
it different? Okay.
formally approve it.
Well, the flat fee, really, I mean, we owe her that. There's no discretion in that because that's something we agreed to at the organizational meeting last year. So if the review of that, there is no review of it because it's an obligation we have regardless of what happens.
And that would then leave, if you paid that 1,600, that would just leave the question of $130 off the other invoice, which is a
Yep.
call for the village attorneys regarding a PCP response and respond of multiple emails by Judge Ark.
Okay.
Okay.
So how is the board proceeding up here? Because right now I'm a little confused. I have the 958 is for 1,456. You're holding off on that whole invoice for payment for tonight, but are you then paying the two other PZBA invoices, 1006 and 1041, each for 1,600?
I'd
flat
vote-
see any
fee?
reason.
I'd vote no on that, that we should follow the process or not follow the process. So something gets audited years down the road and we don't have any trail that Justin has approved it. I don't see there's a massive difference in paying something on Wednesday, the 17th versus Tuesday, the 23rd.
Fine with
Okay.
me, if that's what you want to do. I have no
Then
issue.
Why don't you make a motion, Dan, then?
I don't think I need to make a motion to
Oh,
not pay.
so we're not paying anything. We're not going to pay anything tonight then.
Because
All
we
right,
from Justin, right? Justin's.
okay, and then I'll carry these over until Tuesday night's meeting then, and hopefully Justin or Susan or whomever is responsible for that portion of the bill will approve it, because these are old. They're from November. So they really should get cleaned up.
Yep. Do we have any invoices from Hodson Russ recently? Haven't seen anything from them.
Nope.
Okay, they were supposed to send us them monthly because we got into trouble before with not getting them in a timely manner.
Yeah, whatever ones I did have, I did bring forward and they were paid.
Right. So the question
So-
is, should somebody follow up with them because it's been a while.
I'll follow up.
I think I just paid it in February, February 12th meeting or whatever that date was. The last trustee meeting, I think I paid a Hudson Ross one. I can
I
double
haven't
check
seen
that.
one to approve in a while. That's what I'm asking about. When was the last Hudson Russ bill that we got? It has been a while.
It hasn't been that long ago. Let me check while you're thinking about things.
So someone is going to get, or is going to reach Justin about picking up a hard copy, or how are we going to get him a hard copy before Tuesday?
Since I'm working with Justin with his email, be happy to take care of that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Dorothea.
No problem.
Let me know if you need a deliverer.
It's no problem. We'll make sure he gets it one way or another, even if we have to drop it at his house. While Mary's checking that, can I ask the board for approval on an item
Sure.
Go ahead.
or a review of an item? Miss Fran Kramer has been in contact with us. She stated she never received her previous sewer bill for $195.55 in August. And she ended up with a penalty of $19.56. So when she got her current bill, she was shocked to see that she didn't pay her previous sewer bill. She expressed she has never been late in 30 years. And requests due to the pandemic and the postal service problems to have that penalty waived.
Sure.
That's a board decision. I can't make that arbitrarily. And she asked the post office for a letter of supporting documentation, and they will not provide.
Oh,
So we can go ahead, Lily.
sure.
I told her I would present it to the board, and it was a board decision.
I'll make that motion. And we'll pay it. We'll waive the fee.
I have a question with Mary, for Mary. Have we ever done this in the past?
We have under extreme circumstances, but the theory behind all of it is if you do it for one, you got to do it for the other without proof of anything. That's, we don't know. So we don't want to play favorites here. But
No.
Well,
yes,
that's
we
the
have
last
done that.
issue the last issue I remember was the incident, a house on Jefferson Road.
The swimming
where they
pool.
had
Yes, that
the
is
swimming
correct.
pool. And I don't remember what we even did in that situation, but I know that we looked at
We
it
waived
carefully
it.
to ensure.
I think he ended up
Did we
paying
waive
the penalty, if I'm not
Penalty.
mistaken.
But I think, Bob, if I may, these circumstances are a bit different because I do know that there have been delays in the postal service. So, I mean, given the circumstances, I think that we've used a pandemic as the reason for doing other unusual moves in the recent months, and I think that I don't think it's setting that big of a precedent. And we can point to the pandemic.
Right, and she's been paying her bills for 30 years on time. It seems like that should be.
So I think in this one instance, and we'll point to the pandemic, that will be our finding of fact that because due to the pandemic. What do you
Lily,
say?
would you like to make a motion? Would you like to make a motion?
Okay, I did a few minutes ago, but I will. I make a motion that we permit, I can't remember the
Waive the
residents-
penalty.
I read the resident's name, that we waive the penalty.
Fran Kramer.
Yeah, due to the delayed postal service, which seems directly attributed to the pandemic.
I'll second.
Would someone like to second the motion?
Stetser second.
Renee, seconded the motion. Any further discussion? Dorothea, would you call a vote, please?
Sure. Trustee Stetser?
Stetser, aye.
Trustee Lampier?
Lanfear, aye.
Trustee Keating?
Keating, aye.
Mayor Corby?
Corby, aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. I'll let Fran know. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and to get back now to the Hudson Ross payment, the last one we did for them was January 12th for $29.89.
So
Okay,
there
so
probably
that's
is another bill.
That's at
There
least
might be another bill.
November bill.
Yeah.
It could be November, could be December. So,
I'd have to pull the bill. I can't do that right
Okay.
now.
all right,
But
so,
you have a copy of the bill. Everybody's got a copy of that bill in their email from when I received it. So, I mean, you can always go back and check on that.
okay, so we haven't
But-
received the January invoice. That's what I was asking. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
We good
Next,
to move?
Yeah,
good
I
to
think
move
we are.
forward?
Yep.
All right, so to go back now to the budget. Hold on a second, because now I gotta get my paperwork here. All right. In today's packet, which is not listed in the wish list item, but it is in your packet, is an estimate that we received for security cameras for the village hall of $3,193. This is for consideration to go along with those expenses. It's coming from Welcome Home Living.
And where would these cameras be located?
This would be located in the village hall. I don't, Dorothea, do you have an idea where they will be placed?
Yes, the cameras would be placed in the front of the building, the back of the building, in the main hallway.
So on the exterior of the building?
One on each end entrance, and then in the middle, the hallway going downstairs.
One consideration here would be, is this surface applied wiring or is this wiring to be concealed? Because that might
will be-
affect the price.
No, it's to be concealed. We didn't want, I know how you feel about the cord tracking stuff. This is all going to be buried. It won't be seen.
So there won't be a conduit on the wall.
No.
Okay, okay.
So then
And
we wouldn't, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I'd like to see what these look like, just to see what the visual impact is on the aesthetics of the building.
Yep.
And we might refine the location based on, what they look like. And there might be some tweaking there.
There's
Okay.
this company's right out of Showing Place, so it might be something that you can just drop by and check on also.
So we can go down and visit them. Excellent.
Yeah, you can take a look at it and
Great.
see what it is. So for tonight's purposes and going forward, should I add this to the wish list?
Yes,
Yes.
you should
How
add
do
it.
people feel about this?
I mean, put it on a wish list. Yeah.
So we wouldn't need the Ring camera then. We could, I mean, it's either or, right? The Ring camera was going to do the same thing. It was only going to cover one entrance, but we only had $250 for that on our wish list.
Correct.
This is a lot more sophisticated, apparently.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
has,
Yeah, very different system. But
Yeah.
we can take, I guess I'm nickel and diming here. We can take that $250 off.
yeah. Well, we were
And
thinking
replace
just
it
like
with
it.
3,193.
Mary,
All
would you
right,
like me? Mary, would you like me to share that packet on the screen?
Yes, please.
Mary, before you get too far into this, do you remember what the tax amount was last year? Was it like 448 or something? What was it?
It rounded, it's 472 per thousand.
472 for fiscal 21.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Should we wait on you, Dorothea?
No, keep going. I'll bring it up. I'm getting there.
Okay, so that is new. So that is in the packet. Also, Dorothea, you have to also bring up on the screen the Heister building restoration and then the Century speed sign stuff that I have an updated quote on,
Okay.
just to be familiar with the documents we're looking at. Okay. Oops.
Which do you want to start with? You want to start with the,
Why don't we
Okay.
start with, let's go with the home living for the security camera first, just so do you have that? I think in the packet.
Yeah, it's in the packet.
it's in the
Yeah.
packet? Okay, let me,
All right, just
Right here.
sorry, I was
All right,
trying to get
just-
to your email.
it's okay. Take a few minutes here. While you're doing that, I reran the numbers that we talked about last meeting. And I also did modify a little bit of the revenue numbers, not touching the main numbers, which are property tax and Monroe County sales tax. I'm leaving the revenue discussion for another time period. I want to focus on the expenses, but the bottom line to that is that when I modified some of those revenues, my difference between revenues and expenses was reduced down to $280,507. So that's kind of where we're sitting right now for a difference until we make the modifications to do with those two items I just mentioned, which won't be for several meetings out. All right. Are we good to?
Yep.
We're good to go.
What
All
is the total on the wish list? 139.
And the
139 on
The
the
130
sewer and 271 on the general.
correct.
Okay.
All right. So that said, what I'd like to have happen tonight, if at all possible, is to tighten up on some of these numbers, whether or not you want to go forward with this expense or not. As you see, I do have a gap. I probably, in reality, have a real gap of about $175,000. So obviously, we can't have everything on our wish list, and we can't raise taxes 200%, so to kind of offset it. So I'd like to at least be able to come up with some more realistic list for what we could possibly put into that category. So we're moving along with something that's definite, and then just can focus on items that really need to be revisited at another time.
I would, Mary, can I make a proposal here? I would actually like to have that conversation very much. I'd also like to have it with Frank present. Frank is so involved on the procurement side of things, and especially with the DPW, that I'd really want his input on it, even from the beginning. I don't even feel comfortable making a first cut without Frank around. How do the rest of you feel about that?
I'd be comfortable discussing, tagging some of the things rather than going before we've gone line by line, or and there are a few things I think we can discuss without Frank here. I agree with you. His brain around this is very helpful. So maybe the final decision we wait until Frank's here, but I would like to still get a couple questions at least. Mine are pretty easy, actually. So I don't know that we need Frank here.
Yeah, go ahead, Renee. And then Frank said he was gonna, hopefully will be tuning in at some point. So let's see what we can do before he gets here, okay?
I wanted to talk about, and I'm completely open. Let me just say that first, but I wanted to talk about the need for the lighting in the parking lot and whether that could wait, because that's $6,500, or if there is something that we could do. Full disclosure, I never drive to Village Hall, so I don't use that entrance unless the front door is locked. So, you know, I skirt around in the evening and I cut through the property next door to get back home. So I don't park, and I found the lighting completely adequate when I'm walking through there. So I just wanted to have a conversation about that one.
Dorothea, that is on page 4 of this packet under item A5182.42 for 60 parking lot lighting, 6,500.
I agree with that, Renee. I think there's other things that I think are a lot higher priority than that. So I would agree with that.
Okay. The office staff, how do you feel?
If I could comment, I asked for this to be on here, and I did look at that situation last couple times I've been going out. I must have hit a very dark spell, and we must have been having some lighting issues. And it seems okay. I think we could improve a little bit on it, but right now, no, I don't believe it needs to be in the budget. It can be held over.
Okay. Dan, do you
Alright.
feel this is one of those that you'd like Frank to weigh in on?
I don't know how I feel about it personally. I mean, if we're off by a couple $100,000, 6 of that isn't major. And this to me is employee safety, which makes it a pretty high priority. Like I'd feel better about spending 6,500 than I would about cameras in the office, or I'd feel better about that than some of the other requests.
All right, so going back then to the drawing board here,
I still agree with Renee. I think I've been out there. There was a period where the timers on the light weren't adjusted and where the post light by the side entrance wasn't coming on and it was dark. Now that everything is working again, I think it's pretty good. So I think, you know, we've got some serious cutting to do here. I don't think there's a real security issue there. We're going to have to find stuff that have a big number. I think the other one that would be a big number that we could wait another season on is the Bill Heister repair of the front steps. That's $27,000, and that'll give us a big cut out of the amount we need to get to.
I agree. Now, Bob, can I jump in? I want to go back to the security lights. I'm a man. I don't have the same. We asked Dorothea to stay late at night after meetings. She's often the last person to leave. Those meetings are often quite late. From a safety and security standpoint, I feel very passionately that we have to take care of our staff. So of all the things on the list, that's, if I had to prioritize the most important thing on the list, I would put that at number 1.
I agree that security is important, but statistically, the data doesn't necessarily mean that brighter light provides more secure situations. It really is about shadows and having evenly spread light. I've looked at it. I still think it's somewhere we could cut. We don't have to do it right now, but I think it should be on the list of potential cuts.
And that's
Okay,
why I asked this.
want to see a proof of that, please, Bob, that increased lighting doesn't help security. Or
I didn't mean to cause a discussion. I'm a woman, and I asked the question, and I asked Dorothea, who also is a woman. So I appreciate, Dan, that you acknowledge that. And I think what she has to say about her safety is important. I didn't mean to imply anything other than that. But if you feel strongly, let's leave it on the list for now.
Can I
I
ask her?
don't think you were implying that at all, Renee. No, I didn't think you were implying that at all. I didn't mean to imply that you were implying that.
Can I offer a quick suggestion? We have a light meter. Can we have Steve just go out there, take a look and see how good the lighting is at its
Yeah, good
current
idea.
setting? And maybe we can make some other adjustments, as Bob had indicated. And it might be some shadows. I'm
Absolutely.
picking
Steve and
up.
I can do that together. And, you know, it's as I said before, it's the distribution of the lighting is just as important as the intensity of the lighting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so getting back to what Dan's idea was about highlighting some of these so we could play around in a spreadsheet so that we could see what it looked like. I think that's a good idea. I don't know how we can do that, but it was very helpful when we did this with some other things where we could see the impact, particularly on the one that Bob was talking about for the repairs of the front steps, which is significant. What'd you say? No,
$27,000, I believe.
yeah, that's a big one. And that,
Dorothea, on that one, could you please bring that one up for the board?
Yep.
All right.
That was an email you sent me.
Yep. On that 27,000, there are, it's broken out into several categories, and all I'm saying, as far as the board is concerned, is yes, we can cut out 27.5 out of it. It is a big number, but I just want to be sure that any of these littler numbers that contribute to this whole thing. Nope, not that one. It'll be the other one that I sent in the same email.
All right, hold on.
Uh, It's, yeah, I didn't have time to label it. I'm sorry.
There it is.
I just want to be sure that, yes, that one, okay. Now, the board has received this several times, but as you're looking, these are the numbers that make up the 27.5. So if these are all categories that the board is willing to put aside till next year, whatever, fine. If you want to attack any one of them with the smaller numbers, let's do that. And that'll help reduce some of this 27.5 number.
I think
I'll
we're
give
gonna
you-
have to make some big cuts to patch this hole. And I think you're gonna get a more efficient price if you do all this work together, because it's gonna be the same contractor. So I would advise against splitting the work up. I think it's gonna make sense to do it all at once.
All right, then I'll take this one out of the equation.
Yep.
All right. So can we just go down this list a little bit so that we have a good idea of what I'm keeping, what I'm not? South Street reconstruction is for engineering firm costs for the design work. So they're 25,000 until we actually go out to bid. I think we won't know for sure what that number is, but 25,000 is a good placeholder. And the board has agreed to go forward with the South Street project. So leaving that number in. Just jump in here at any time if you don't want this. The notice display boards, we had a go ahead
Mary,
previously.
Mary, it would be really helpful for us to share the screen. Does anybody mind if I share the screen so we're all looking at the same thing?
I'm already sharing it.
Dorothea has the document. She's already got it on screen.
Okay, and it. God,
We're looking on page.
I know, and we weren't looking at it. All right.
Are we okay to carry forward?
Yep, continue, please.
All right, under Village Hall 1620.4, the notice display boards were ones that the board had set to go forward with. We need that because of the pandemic. The Village Hall isn't accessible, so that one's that. Heater replacement for 15,000. We are having George, who is the guy who's been taking care of our furnace and air AC needs for many years here. He's looking to get us an estimate on what our what this will actually be, but he told us about 15,000 to think about. The security camera for 250, that's on hold, along with the one for 3193, which is where this would go. Cleaning services 6240, that's non-negotiable. Desk for DPW office is 1500. Washer dryer combo 1500. I think these are sort of things that what's at the DPW at this time is very, very old. I mean, it's the desk alone at the DPW is probably a roadside special that was picked up more than 25 years ago. And the washer
More than
dryer.
that.
Yeah,
More
I
than
think
that.
John Earls had that desk when he was superintendent.
It's probably 50 years old at least.
Well, maybe we should sell it for an antique value.
Yes, maybe it's an antique. It could be worth money.
All right. The washer dryer combo again, that's probably a no-brainer also. Crack seal all the roads. I don't know, Zach, how you feel about it. I don't know that it's feasible to have
All these things, Mary, if I may speak on these things, because I have met with Zach and Frank. These are really things, these are maintenance items that it does not make sense not to do them. It's gonna keep our roads together until they're repaved. I think all of those things in that from A5020.4 to A5020. Everything in that, all four of those items need to go forward.
Okay, I'm good with that. 5110.2, the utility trailer is in there. Dorothea, 5110.2 is the speed sentry. We got 13,000.
What if we did one?
Estimate that came in. We did one. I thought the board was agreeing on 2, but anyway, the
Okay.
new estimate from Custom Signals is $5,500. So is the board agreeing for, hi, Frank. Are we agreeing for 2 or 1? Because that'll be
I think
$5,500 less.
right now, because of the, I think we had a forum on the severity of speeding. We heard from people on other streets that are having the same problem. Personally, I feel that we need to have some action in that department. I think there was an agreement from our consultants that these are fairly effective in having some impact because we've exhausted some of the other items like enforcement from the sheriff's department. So I would be in favor of leaving it in right now. How does everyone else feel?
Yes, for now, let's leave it in.
Yeah.
Excuse
Frank
me.
wants to say them?
Yeah, Frank?
Yes,
You have
hello.
the floor.
I just joined the meeting. I'm sorry that I was late. Bob, are you referring to the quote from Custom Signals?
That is
Correct.
correct, yes.
Okay. Are we going to also solicit any other bids?
We certainly could. We certainly could.
Well,
And in
the
fact,
reason,
we'll need to, per our procurement policy, we'll have to find some more vendors and we will need to do that. So that's a to-do item, is to get some other quotes. I'll see what I can do to come up with some more names, Frank.
well, I have been communicating with a company and I've asked them to send information to you and Dorothea. And apparently you may not have received the information. They're called Traffic Logics. And they're a New York State company, but they've indicated in the mailing that I received from them in November that they did send this information. Maybe we never got it, but there are other companies that offer the same product that we should be looking at. If we're going to be buying 2 or 3 of these, we're looking at maybe $10,000, $11,000. So, and this is something that the controller has been cautioning us on. In fact, their newest report hints on that. So that's all I have to say about that.
Can I
Agreed,
speak on that real
agreed.
quick?
Go ahead, Dan.
No, Zach.
Oh, Zach, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Zach.
No, that's fine. I did get another quote for a Speed Sentry setup with solar panels, and that was from Tapco, and I got this back in May 14th, 2020. And the complete setup with the post, all the hardware, the batteries, the solar panel, and everything included with it was $63.85 for one setup.
How much, Zach?
$6,385.
And that included solar panels?
Yep.
Because the bid that we got from the other company that you were referring to, Bob, I'm wrong. They included solar panels also, but they were around $4,200. So what I think we ought to do, we ought to look at these 3 companies, determine exactly what equipment we want, and zero in on a price and their reputation, and then place an order.
And also make sure that the quotes are for equipment that's identical, so we understand if there's a difference in quality, battery length, or service.
Exactly. That's exactly what I think we ought to be doing.
Frank,
So-
just a question. On Traffic Logic, do you recall what they were quoting us for 1 unit?
They did not quote anything. When I talked to them, I asked them to submit the initial information to our clerk and to Bob Corby. And they obviously never did submit the information because I don't have any prices.
Okay, just curious. So I think really what aside from comparing apples to apples between 3 different vendors, I think the board is needing to decide whether we go out for 1 speed Century sign or 2, which will be budget impact of about $6,300. So we'll keep that in mind as we get quotes in. And for right now, I can leave the 2, considering the need that you just cited, Bob.
Okay.
Hey, can I propose we change direction a little bit? So here's what I want to do. We're going line by line, and we can easily justify why we need all these things. And we can do that, and maybe we'll find a couple things here or there. The challenge, of course, is that we have to cut somewhere. Frank, you missed the beginning of the meeting, but the revenue gap right now is about $280,000. It's a really big number. So what if we changed our approach to it and started talking about the things that we could cut rather than going line by line and talking about how much we need everything? We're going to have to make some hard choices. 280,000 is a big number, and it's ballpark. Mary, it might go up or down a little based on revenue and that kind of thing, but it's a lot of money.
Well, we've already cut some big items. I think as we go through, we're going to find other items that we will need to cut. I think, I believe that the DPW projects are pretty important to go forward. We're not doing a lot of DPW this year, but it doesn't make sense to cut there because it just creates a hole that has to be filled later on.
Can we?
Lampier, may I be recognized?
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead, Lily.
I'm sorry, I have a question, and it's my own question, and that is regarding big ticket items. How the bridge is going to proceed on State Street is sort of critical, I think, to the South Street paving project, unless I'm misunderstanding something, and I could very well be. As far as the timing, and if there was a delay for some reason, and as that often happens in these construction projects, and we have it all set that we're going to start the South Street project in September, for instance, would we be assured that we would be able to complete that project from September? I know that the asphalt plants shut down at a certain time, and that all has to work into the timeline for the construction. Would we be taking a risk to plan the project for this fiscal year because of what's happening with the bridge? I'm just wondering if we. I know it's a really big question.
That what we're planning to do this year, Lily, is only design the work to be did for next year for South Street. We purposely did not propose doing work because we believe there probably will be excess traffic on South Street, so it wouldn't be a good time to do the work, and there may be additional wear on the street from the excess traffic.
Right. So I was looking at that $250,000 ticket and seeing it in this budget year. Am I not reading that correctly?
Correct. I had taken out the 250,000 and put in only 25,000 for just the design work.
Okay, I see. Okay.
It would be part of the $250,000 project.
I see. So that's what I saw, the 250. So I thought it was all one, but we're only talking about in this fiscal year the $25,000 for the design work. I'm on page now. Thank you.
That's fine. All right. And the reason we're going through these line items as we're going, because it will also help us to weed out one or show us potential areas where we could maybe reduce funds, or like in this particular thing with the Speed Century, have 1 instead of 2, or maybe when the quotes come in, we can afford to do 3. We don't know until the actual quotes come in and a final determination is made, but at least it gives us highlighted areas where we know for sure that maybe this is a category that we can play with or cut out or whatever. So that's the purpose of going through this, because yes, I am out $280,000 right now, but revenues will need to be addressed, but I'd like to get a handle at least on some of these expenses so that I don't keep coming back and forth to the board every week with the same items. I'd like to be moving forward to some sort of, a better place with it. We've only got
Okay.
4 weeks to try to get something done here.
Okay.
So
Mary,
that
can I
said,
ask, I've got a question. So the total deficit right now, the total gap in the budget is what? How much?
280,507 between revenues and expenses. That's with no
All right.
modification to the tax or Monroe County sales tax
Okay,
at this
so
time.
if we eliminated everything in the items for Village Hall, that would give us 43,900, almost $44,000 there. So that would be a chunk.
That would be a chunk, but here's the danger with that, Bob. I can understand when you say remove the 27.5, I would be in total agreement with you on that one. But $15,000 for a heater replacement might end up being an emergency repair in the middle of a fiscal year that we didn't plan on having a replacement. So if our heater craps out, we're a little bit cold in here.
Then we better
That,
put money in a contingency. I mean, that would be the way to deal with that. If you're getting a revised estimate to know if that's the correct number, is that right?
that is correct.
Okay, all right. So, but I'm just saying, if we're going to have to find some big numbers here without jeopardizing the road work, and this is one area where we could probably just cut and we'd get a big chunk of change.
Right. All right. Are we good to move forward?
Yep.
We're on page 4 of the wish list under 5110.4. Case 321 tires. That's a necessity. Otherwise, the machine won't go. So I think that one is not to be, same thing with 5132. The toolboxes, the equipment rentals. I think that's all part of just regular everyday operations that the guys need to have replaced down there. I think that kind of all
Mary,
rolls into one.
you skipped the utility trailer, and that is probably something we could probably get by with one more year without doing. And I talked to Zach today, and Zach, do you want to share with the board what you shared with me earlier today?
Yes. Hi, this is Zach, and it's not good news, but last week when we were prepping the toolcat, we were cleaning it up and prepping it to take it back out to plow sidewalks. We noticed that we saw light coming through the floorboards inside the cab of the toolcat. Upon further inspection, we found that there's a lot of rot, and we had to take an old road sign, cut it to fit inside of the cab, and we are now using that as a makeshift floorboard for the toolcat. The thing about the floor of the toolcat is the whole cab is a monocoque with the chassis, and it is structural. So once the rot starts, it starts to jeopardize the integrity of the machine. So I need to bring this up to you guys. It should probably be replaced at some point soon here.
Were you looking to replace it with a different piece of equipment? Would this have a trade-in value? That sort of question?
It should still have a trade-in value, and I'm sure it might even be possible that we could send it out for repairs and have the floorboard cut out and a new one welded in place, but I don't have an actual idea of how much that would cost at this point. As for a trade-in value or an auction value of it, I'm sure it's still going to be $12,000 to $15,000 as it is, and this is just unexpected. The other idea that because we're still trying to get a smaller version of the toolcat, the chips funds, is to keep the toolcat and only use it for light duty work, and really just use it as transportation rather than as a heavily used piece of equipment. So
Can you get a quote
just weighing my options.
on
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Zach, Yeah, if you got a quote to repair the floor, if they took the floor out, you probably get a better handle on how far the rod is spread and whether it's worth it.
Yep.
Is it worth doing that?
It may be. It might just prolong the life of it. We did look on the passenger side of the floor also, and that is also showing signs of rot. So it might open up Pandora's box once you get into it. And I would like to get a quote to see how much it would cost to do that first. But I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention before we got to the end of the budget. Repair.
So basically, Zach, what you're looking to maybe do is to forfeit the utility trailer for a new piece of equipment plus a trade-in with the toolkit on it, the best case scenario.
Yeah, if we have to lift the trailer along, we can do that. We've done that for years now anyway. So that's one possibility. Another thing that I was thinking also for the crack sealing of all roads, I can cherry pick roads and chew that $25,000 down. I just wanted to go for worst case, if we were to do all the roads, that's what it would cost. But not necessarily what would be absolutely needed. So just to keep that in mind too, that is a figure that could be chewed down.
Okay.
Could you refine that for us, Zach, over the next couple of weeks so we could get a more accurate number? Because
Sure.
I think, doing that is important. I don't want to shortchange that category. But if we can cut it a little bit without cutting what we really need to work that we really need to get done, then we might as well do it.
If I had a budget of $12,500, I think we could get a lot done with that. And then whatever we don't get done this year, we could just assume for next year.
Okay.
If we wanted to go that route.
Just for keeping it round, do you want me to just drop that number to 15 for right now? That still gives you a little bit of room.
Sure.
I'm asking him if you want me to keep it as it is, I will.
No. If we need to find money, that would be a good place to find it. So if you wanted to cut that in half, that would be fine. I'm sure we could get a lot done with half of that.
With half of that, okay.
Yep.
I'll drop it down.
One question, Zach.
Sure.
If we don't do the crack sealing work on village streets, that could lead to a greater degree of deterioration. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
We could get in those cracks water and salt, and before you know it, the road is beginning to fall apart. So it seems to me like we're trying to save some money where we really shouldn't, because we're looking at more costs down the road.
Yeah,
we've all gone down village streets that have deteriorated to a point where we've got a lot of holes where we're going to have to rebuild streets. And if we can avoid that for more years, I would think that crack sealing would be an important step. So I would be careful not to cut that if that's what we need to do the good job on the streets.
I agree with you, Frank.
Zach,
Okay.
is crack sealing and chip sealing, are they two different processes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
where chip sealing is more of a surface treatment. Crack sealing is just what it sounds like. It's just
filling in the cracks. Okay.
Yep.
And is it feasible to think that you could get all the village streets crack sealed within one summer?
Yes.
Okay. I can leave the number and let's see where we fall out.
Okay.
If you want to do that.
That's fine. There is another item that we could pinch money from, and I think the last budget meeting we were talking about, instead of doing the conduit running.
Are you on page 4, 5182.42?
I'm sorry, it's 5182.42, yes.
Okay. Page
Or
4.
Page 2, I believe it. Page 3, I got 2 numbers on my page here, 2 different
Yeah,
numbers.
there's a number at the top of the page. So that's number we're going by just for number in the packet. So it is
All right,
page 2 of 3 of my wish list items, but it's actually page 4 of the packet.
okay.
Okay.
So rather
Is
than
that just-
doing the conduits, running it to all the tree pits for lighting up the trees, I think we were discussing running extension cords from the light poles above overhead to the trees for the lighting. So that's $5,000 that we could save there.
But there would be a cost for the extension cords and all that. That would maybe be
Yeah,
Pretty
1,000.
minimal. Pretty
Yeah,
minimal
if
compared.
we can get a $500 or $600, I'm sure we can make that work.
All right. Well, so why don't I just leave it down to 1,000 for now?
Okay.
If the board is good with that, and if we
Mhm,
need to
yes.
modify it again, we can. All right. Bridge project, 2 new lights above deck, 2,500. I think we can't do anything about that. Concrete sidewalks, driveway aprons.
The 2 lights, we can scrap those because DOT is replacing the lights on the bridge. So that would be something I think we could cut. We're probably not going to do the work this year anyway, because they're going to be in there working on the bridge.
And what about below deck? You know,
I hate to cut it, but if we need to cut to get to where we need to, we don't have to do that this year. It would be hard to do the work in the summer when they're working on the bridge anyway. So I would be willing to cut that, but we
Alright.
should save it because it's work that we do need to address.
okay. I'll take it out for right now. We'll see where we fall.
Yep.
Is there any, just pause for a second on that one. Is there any opportunity for grant funding from the Canal Corporation? Because that is that's a safety issue too. With the lighting, even if it's next year or the next budget cycle that we do it.
We should ask Sophie to be on the alert for that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Mary.
No, that's all I was going to say was that's a Sophie question. All right, under category
Mhm,
5410.4, concrete sidewalk and driveway apron replacement for 3,500. And then the
That has
State
to
Street
stay.
sidewalk, the
Sorry.
State Street sidewalk for 650 on the north side of Shone Place for 25.4. That has to stay, correct?
The sidewalk would
Let's see
be
where
up
we
to the
end up.
board.
Let's
Sorry.
come back to that. We've still got a big hole, and that's a big number.
Okay, 7110.4 message board south and east Jefferson Road. That's a sign that we have out there by the Little League field that needs to be replaced at this time. So that probably has to stay. New decking for the West Pavilion by Aladdin's for 7,000. That, I don't know about a grant there. That's again a Sophie thing.
That'd be a Sophie thing.
Streets, yep, the streetscape flowers and wreaths. That's typical every year. So
That's a
that
given.
is the benches for State Street corridor for $2,500. If these are donor benches, that would be money that would be offset by donors. So it's really kind of doesn't make any difference for us. Drainage for the catch basin construction locust, I have 50,000, but I think it was also extended to towards South and North Main Street to the corner. I think that's where you were talking about it last budget meeting. Is that
Yes. The bad area is from Main Street to Rand.
Main to Rand?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
a pretty important repair, and I think we'd want to get that done before we repave Locust Street. I think, and based on what Zach has said about the condition of the storm pipe, I don't think we want to delay on that. I think our plan this year was to do that work next year, and I'd rather do it before we have another collapse of a section of pipe.
Mary, one thing that I did not see on here was for the drainage repairs out in front of the village hall.
Okay, how much
Which-
were these? How much are they
I-
supposed to be?
That's going to be probably around another $30,000.
Zach, we just saved
Okay.
27.5 under building expense and you just blew it another category. It's okay. I'll add it. You said 30,000?
Yeah.
All right, and that's, all this is a must-have because the piping is collapsing, right?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't get too far with the adjustment to the number. That's where we are with the general fund, unless
Well,
have to
what,
make
what about,
adjustments on the-
okay. Yeah,
go ahead.
I've got some cutting to do.
I mean, I don't know. What I could do is look into the category itself and see where I could maybe skimp down on what I actually have for that particular category. And maybe I can skim off some money that way, but it's either way, it's not going to be a huge difference, but it'll help with the gap a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Mary, we'll look for an updated report sometime between now and the next one. So my question then is for the trustees on how do you want to approach this? So we've only looked at the wish list items and we still have major cuts to do. And so how do you guys want to do proposals for balancing the budget? How do you want to handle it? Do it as a group or kind of come in with your own ideas and ask everybody to come in with a few ideas on where we could save? How do you want to do it?
I did put in 30,000 into the contingency account also since last time, so that makes
Yeah,
a little bit of difference. I'd be welcome to take any of your suggestions anytime prior to the meeting so that I can accumulate them and assess where we are.
Yeah, so
Can I add one more thing?
I'm asking for ideas from all of the trustees. I don't want to make these ideas myself. That hasn't worked in the past. If I'm the only one who comes in with a plan on how to cut dramatically.
Okay. I would be open to trustees coming with their list of proposals of how we would handle that
Great.
and discussing those.
When do you want to target that for?
The next meeting.
Next meeting?
Yeah, we only have 4 meetings left before I have to print out a tentative budget
a tentative budget, yeah.
for the paper. So like I said, the sooner you could get these ideas to me, I can place them onto a list and get them ready for next week's discussion. I can play with the numbers in the program to see how well that works to help us kind of get along with some of this stuff.
Okay. So then to be clear, each of the trustees is to come to the next meeting with a list of ideas and their relative costs on where we could cut.
That would be helpful. If you can get it to me beforehand, it would even be more helpful.
Okay.
Just to, just to give me a little bit of a heads up on playing with some of the numbers.
Dorothy,
Okay.
We will do that.
Problem with us, we've got a lot of repaying a lot of things, and that's kind of keeping our hands tied a little bit. So
I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but I think there's one more thing to add to this list, and it's not a biggie.
I used to like you.
Go ahead, Zach.
Sorry. Rand Creek. I talked to Scott Harder today for a little while about Rand Creek, and he's anticipating it's going to cost around $35,000-$40,000.
Okay. Add it to the mix.
Such a bearer of good news you are.
Dorothy,
All
can you,
right. I
um,
think the other thing too that maybe would be helpful, maybe we have, I hate to do this, because it's the last packet we really have, but we do have a reserve for 163,000. We could break that reserve, reallocate some of the road work projects to that, and recreate a new balance on that to go forward. But the danger in that is once that money is gone, it's gone, and it takes a long time to get the money back in there. So it's just
Not,
another place for the board to look at. I mean, that it would help the gap a little bit. I don't know what else to tell you because we're kind of banging our heads against what we need for operations and what money we can physically, fiscally come up with without breaking the
okay.
bank.
Dorothy,
right.
can you do me a favor and stop sharing the screen? I want to show a spreadsheet real quick. Do I have permission to be able to share a screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, do I have computer permission to be able to share a screen? Did you just change it? There we go. Okay, thank you. Okay, so you should be seeing my screen. Yeah? Okay, here's where we are. Let me shut off my notifications. Let me make this a little bigger for all of you. Here's where we are on taxes, just so everyone's on the same page. Let me make this bigger for everybody to see. Okay, so last year it was at 472, and that was an 18% increase over the year before. I'm just kind of telling you how to read this. Let me pull these over, that these are just notes. Okay, the important thing I want to call your attention to is this. This is the year over year increase. So last year, as you guys all remember, we did an 18% increase. Over the last 10 years, we have raised taxes 93.8%. Over the last 5 years, it's 63. Over the last 3 years, it's 24. This is your.
Are those numbers corrected for inflation?
Yeah, and just if you, that's exactly what I'm talking about here. I know you say that every year, so I'm prepared for that. And that's what this is. That this is in real dollars. So a 10-year increase of 2.28. In real dollars, that's 2.01, and that's based on an 88 cents on the dollar is where we went for inflation over the last 10 years, according to the World Bank. Over the last 5 years, it's in actual dollars, it's 1.25. In real dollars, it's 1.18. So not major things. So here's some facts about that. We have averaged a 9.4% increase over the prior 10 years. At 4.72 last year, that was an 18% increase over 2020. So we're accelerating. It was a 92% increase over our average. So that we've raised taxes for 13 straight years. The average increase has been 9% per year. There's one other thing that I want to show you, and that's in here. Let me unhide. Okay, so for this particular year, this is an important column to look at because this is the U.S. wage increases. And it might be different for upstate New York, but it's not going to be dramatically different. So this says that most people in the country got about a 3% raise in 2021, and we raised taxes 18%. So we took home more money. We outpaced their raises every single year. We didn't this year, that we did 1.2%. But every other year, we outpaced their raises, which means their actual take-home dollars were lower, even given their raises.
Okay.
So everybody should just be aware of this, and this is what we're trying to avoid. We all really had a hard time last year when we increased taxes 18% during a pandemic, and we all agreed we can't do that again. And we're still in a pandemic. And so we've got to make some hard cuts. We increased our head count by 2 full-time equivalents in the office this year, which costs a lot of money. And so now we got to figure out where to cut to get us close. I can tell you right now, I have no interest in raising taxes at all, given what's gone on recently, given all these numbers and given what's going on in the pandemic. So I will make very difficult choices on the cutting.
Yeah.
Anybody have
Just
any?
another perspective is that when we did our budget last year, even with our tax increase, if you look at the 30-year in real dollars, our taxes really haven't increased from what they were in 1984. So
Okay.
yes, they have increased over the last few years, but if you look at a global picture, and if you compare the tax rate in this village to other benchmark villages that have less amenities, we are in the ballpark. So I think, this is one lens of looking at it, which is valid, which is something we need to be concerned about. But I think there's different statistics and different data that you have to look to get a complete picture of where our revenues fit versus the services we provide. And we're an amenity-rich village. Paving roads cost money. Maintaining a waterfront park costs money. That's a reality. So all of that needs to be considered. It's not just about the tax rate. It's about the services. Over the last 25 years, we've created a park system that didn't exist before. We've created streetscape improvements that didn't exist before. So you have to consider that when you look at the increase in taxes that's occurred during that period.
So every year you make roughly the same statement, and every year I just disagree. At a certain point, we have to make difficult choices, and we cannot keep raising our taxes 9% a year. So it's just at a certain time you have to draw the line, and we're well beyond that, in my opinion. And I think the numbers.
Okay, is there anything else anyone wants to talk about tonight? Yes, Lily.
Trustee Lanfear, I would like to request an executive session, the purpose of which is to discuss the specific employee.
Okay, and I have one more question for Mary. Mary, can you give us the latest spreadsheet on salaries and benefits per employee and what those costs are?
Yes, I'll give that to you.
All right, thanks.
I have a quick question. Did we ever have an Excel version of this? So those of us who want to be able to manipulate it at home, if we're supposed to come back with some ideas about our proposals for how we balance this budget. I'm terrible with paper. I don't know if we have, if we're trying to manipulate, do we have an Excel version of this, or at least a copy of it that's locked that
we do not. No.
We don't. Okay. Well, maybe I'll ask.
We don't have it. I have my program, which is basically an Excel version of it, but I don't have another.
A version that we can play with. Okay, that's fine.
Another version that you can play with. Otherwise, I'm just duplicating a lot of work for myself in hours that are half the time that I've been working at before.
Okay.
And,
I will hit up somebody in the office.
Minimum.
Okay, I'll just get a copy print off and work from there then, and just stop by the office. Okay, thank you.
Mary,
Okay.
you do have a copy of the wish list items though in Excel, and if you could send that around to everybody, that'd be a big help.
That's fine. All right.
Okay, we had a request to enter executive session.
All right, let me get
And
out.
you can go, Mary. Yep.
Thanks, Mary.
Would someone like to make a motion?
Trustee
Would someone like to
Lanfear.
make a motion?
Trustee Lanfear, so first, shall we close out the meeting, the budget meeting first? Or do we just go right into executive session?
You're going to adjourn the meeting after executive session.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I would like to make a motion that we enter into executive session, the purpose of which is to discuss a specific employee.
We have a second. Zach, you're excused.
Okay, thanks, Zach.
Okay, wait for Zach and Dorothea, have you stopped recording the meeting?
Once we get the second and the motion, and the motion goes through.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll second
okay.
that motion. Trustee Galusha.
Dorothea, would you call a vote, please?
Trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
trustee Stetser,
That's right.
trustee Lampier,
Lampier, aye.
trustee Galusha,
Trustee Galusha, aye.
Mayor Corby.
Corby, aye.
Okay, let me dismiss who's left.
Yeah, I see.
We still
Marie.
have a caller on.
I just dismissed him.
Thank you.
Bye, Marina. Thank you. I'm locking the room and I'm stopping the recording.
This conference will now be recorded.
And now we do a motion to exit executive
Aye.
session.
I would like to make a motion that we leave executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion that we adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second that one. Trustee Galusha.
Thank you. All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Good night. Wish your daughter a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Our February people rule. Okay. Good night.
Night.
Right.